Been a busy trade deadline day. We've already talked Twins, but we're going to talk Twins again. Nash Walker from Locked On Twins is back with us because you got a pitcher earlier in the day, and now we've got another pitcher headed your way, Tyler Mahle from the Cincinnati Reds. What does this addition do for you guys? Does it put you over the hump?
It's funny, Kainani. I actually said Mahle was my number one target for the Twins a couple weeks ago. I did top 5 targets, and I factored in everything, the talent level, the price, the feasibility for this front office, knowing what we know. And he was the number one target. Such a big part of this for me was, yes, the 4.40 ERA. It doesn't jump off the page, but all of his underlying numbers are much better than that, and they paint the picture of a frontline starter. And when you get him out of Cincinnati, where he really has struggled, especially since 2019, he's got a 5+ ERA at home, and I believe he's in the mid-2s on the road. If you bring him to Target Field, which is a pitcher park, especially to left-handed hitters, and as a right-handed pitcher, that's significant as well. I think he's a big-time breakout candidate. Also, get him in the American League Central. You're seeing the Royals, the Tigers. The White Sox lineup hasn't been very good this year. I think he'll benefit from that as well. So there are a bunch of factors here, I think, working in his direction, and that's why he was my number one target. The Twins certainly paid a lot for Tyler Mahle, but we knew they needed starting pitching. They're in first place, and they need to beef up if they want to compete down the stretch and into the postseason with the Yankees and Astros.
In terms of what they did give up, do you feel like it was too much, or is it just what they needed at this point? And you got to do whatever the cost is, pay it.
We knew it was going to hurt, right? There were 3 controllable starters, Mahle and Castillo and Montas. We knew if they were to get one of those 3, it was going to hurt. Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion-Strand, Steven Hajjar, 2 breakout hitting prospects for the Twins, and Steer and Encarnacion-Strand. They drafted Encarnacion-Strand a year ago, and Steer kind of broke out as a power development in the last couple of years, broke out last year, and then has followed that up with an even better season in 2022. So the Reds are adding 2 legitimate power right-handed bats. I think we'll both be ready. Steer's ready right now. Encarnacion-Strand will probably be ready at some point next year. So that's huge for them. And then Steven Hajjar, the lefty, polished lefty from Michigan, the Twins drafted a few years back, he's good too. So this is a haul for the Reds, certainly. And I think for the Twins, they trust their ability to develop these power bats, and they hope and trust that they can continue to pump some more out of the system. But this is one of those trades that could hurt the Twins down the road, but they're hoping it helps enough now in the short term where they're not even thinking about that.
With adding Mahle to this rotation, what does the Twins rotation look like for the rest of the year and hopefully playoff time for you guys?
Yeah, Sonny Gray, Tyler Mahle, those are your 1-2. I think Mahle is a game 2 starter behind Gray. I don't know if the Twins are done today yet. I hope that there might be one more move. They're still trying at Carlos Rodon, I know, which would change the entire look of this rotation. But Mahle, Gray, Joe Ryan, the rookie, who's been very good this year as well. Those are your top 3. And then they have Archer and Bundy for depth. They're still lacking in the rotation, especially if they had an injury come up, which is likely with pitchers down the stretch. But I feel much better about their top 3 now than I did an hour ago with Mahle, Gray, and Ryan. And I think Mahle has the upside to be a true, number 2, high-end number 2, if not a low-end number 1 for the Twins. He has the stuff, he has the ability, and I think he has the underlying numbers to show that that's possible. So I feel much better about it right now. If you get Tyler Mahle, who he's been over the last couple months, he's clearly in their top 3. And if he can get even better, which I think is possible, that would be big for the Twins. And they'd really have a legitimate 1, 2, 3 in the playoffs, I think, with Gray, Mahle, and Ryan.
If you're looking to add, as you mentioned, you can never have enough pitching, right? Especially in the playoffs. What do they have left to give up at this point, right? Because is there a lot more to be taking from the farm system, or where are they going to get the capital for this?
Right. Yeah. At this point, they traded for Jorge Lopez, the all-star reliever today. They got Mahle for a big-time haul. So the next move, if they were to go get Rodon, I think you would really see that hurt the system. I mean, the system's already it's taken a big hit today, but if they were to then go for the next move and they capped it off with a home run swing, you would see the system pretty thin. Now, I will say they've kept the top part of the system intact. Encarnacion-Strand, Steer more in that 8 to 12 to 15 range with Hajjar. They were rising, they were on their way to being top 5 or 10 prospects. You could argue that Steer already was, but they have their top 5 still intact. So if they want a deal from that group, I think they have the flexibility to do that. I think you should cap this off. I'm a prospect guy, host a 5-day-a-week podcast. So I'll have to also, as a fan, sustain a loss of prospect, right? And that hurts more than anything when you watch these prospects who the Twins have developed succeed elsewhere. But I'm even saying finish it off, cap it off with something big, and give yourself the best chance down the stretch and into the playoffs, because the Twins didn't expect to be here right now, but they are with Carlos Correa, who's likely to opt out after this year. I think you have to take advantage of the position you're in.
Definitely going all in. Do you think that Mahle are they gonna try to sign him long-term? Is this a rental at this point, or is this kind of see how he goes and then we'll try to deal with it in the offseason?
This is a big part of it, is that he's under team control for next year. So you feel much better about the rotation for 2023 as well. You have Gray, Ryan, Mahle for next year. Kenta Maeda's coming back from Tommy John. They have some other young starters I really like. Bailey Ober should be back and healthy next year. So I feel really good about the 23 rotation, and they should be able to add in free agency with Correa's money coming off the books. Beyond that, it looks a little skimpy in 2023. I wonder about that. So it would be great to extend him. If he breaks out, he's probably going to want to get to free agency. You know, he's 27 years old, and I'm sure he'll want a payday if that happens for him. But the Twins would be so happy if they got a year 1.3 years out of Mahle where he does break out and take that next step. We'll see. They don't really extend starters. They don't really sign starters. Like, this is how they get their starting pitchers. They either develop, which they haven't done a great job of, or they trade for them. So I don't think they'll extend Mahle, but to have him for 2023, I think was a big part of this equation.
Absolutely. Another arm headed to Minnesota, this time in addition to the starting pitching staff. Nash, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Kainani.